Oh, hey everyone. We're back for another military ad slam. We're going to go over some more classic ads again, rather than battle scenes in movies. There's this one that's been kind of circulating around. I know Fox News covered it. Ted Cruz had some things to say about it because, of course, he did. So we're going to go over that one first. But it turns out that I've been neglecting the Coast Guard. So we're gonna do that right after this one. We have some Coast
Okay.
Guard ads because I feel bad. I'm sorry, guys.
So we have
Hell yeah.
Elendil in the Discord who he's like a Coast Guard guy. Did he put you up to this?
Yes, it kind of made me realize that I haven't really incorporated enough of the Coast Guard versus the other branches.
Got to
So
make fun of the Coast Guard.
Oh, shame.
yeah, we
Equal
need to make fun of
shaming
them
across
just
here.
as much as everybody else.
It's important.
Anyway, I go by Plantifa, and I'm gonna be running this shindig, I guess, which really just means I'm gonna be talking at the same time that these people are talking. Anyway, let's go to my right to War Puppy, or left, I guess, for you. I don't know.
I also don't know how directions work. I'm War Puppy, also go by Alex, and the server involved in a lot of different things and casually streaming on FPS Friday and sometimes on the weekends as well. So that's me. I'll pass it over to Sin.
Hey, I'm Sincerely V, your local Gamer for Peace FPS team member and Veteran for Peace digital organizer. I'm happy to be on here. It's awesome. I'm a United States Marine Corps vet, with a smooth brain, so I provide minimal commentary, and most of the laughs are going to come from the very, very talented staff or panel, I should say, around me because they're all awesome. So I'm going to pass this over.
You have
to
a
pass
wrinkly
this
brain,
over-
Sin. Don't say that about yourself.
Dude, it's starting to gain some wrinkles because I'm hanging out with you guys. That's what it is. Like I have
Not me.
moments.
I also was eating crayons.
Hello.
Paint, my favorite.
My name is Jules. I also go by Pacifist Warvet, and I am also I am a member of Veterans for Peace. I don't know, am I a gamer for peace? I do sometimes play a community game night, so I think I'm a gamer for peace.
Absolutely.
And I am the member coordinator for Veterans for Peace National. So if you want to join Veterans for Peace, by the way, you should tell me and I will help. No, really, you should go to our website, veteransforpeace.org. And I'm excited to be here and make fun of some shit. And I'm going to pass it to Yarby.
All right. Well, my name is Yarby. I'm actually a stand-up comedian that also does Twitch streaming. Yarby on Twitch, and Jake Yarbrough is my what I go by when I do stand-up comedy. You can check my website out at jakeisfunny.com. I was in the Army, and my MOS dealt with communications, so I was kind of a radio guy. Over. So
Got that
yeah,
set up and ready to go, didn't he?
yeah.
Jules, if you're the member coordinator, can I get off the distro list for never having gone to the new member meeting? I'm just gonna be honest, I don't super want to go.
Okay, how long has it been since you joined?
Like 4 months.
Okay, then you shouldn't be on that list anymore.
All right. I'll
But
let you do
I'll
that.
deal with that later.
I'll yell at you in the Twitch chat if I'm still on the
Perfect.
list.
Perfect.
All right. Well, now I think that's everybody, right?
I'm testing something real quick. Did it
Oh,
work?
okay. Well, then
No.
we'll just stall.
Yeah, stall. Don't stall.
Stall,
Anyway.
stall,
Don't
stall.
No need to vamp.
Stall.
The bot's not working. All right, go.
Oh,
I'm trying to be fancy.
Oh man, so I ran into somebody
We're
the
boomers
other
with
day.
technology, guys.
So I ran into somebody the other day who was like he was a Marine veteran, but you could tell it like he was still like over there a little bit. Because
Or those
he was
Bogut
getting
guys.
he was getting drunk and kept trying to fight people.
Oh,
And like it was one of those things where you're like, yo man, what war are you still fighting? Like, we're home, man. Like, it's okay, you could calm down, like he finally calmed down and stuff and everything. And like after like he was trying to fight like his best friend who was there with him and stuff, and he was like, man, I was like, yeah man, it's okay, like we get it, It all happens, man. Like, but it was still like, whoa, man. Like he was still like programmed a little bit where it was like, yeah, man, you need to go see the VA. They'll help you out with that, man. Just it's gonna take a little bit though. It's gonna take a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna take a few months. They'll do something, and it might
couple
be
of
for
years.
both of you.
It
Couple
took
of
me
years
a
sometimes.
yeah, it took
Take
me
a
a couple
while.
of years to get to like what is it, the group therapy thing that I'm in now that helps a lot. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Better
That-
late than never.
yeah, right.
That healing journey's a long one. It's an important one though.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things also where, you know, he was just like, kept trying to ask me to hit him in his face. And I was just like, why would I do that? That doesn't make sense. You know, a little bit just like that doesn't make sense, man. So
That's where you go to therapy. Leave me
yeah.
alone.
Like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
The amount of men
I
that have
think-
hit on me when they just needed to go to therapy instead. Like you don't want this. You want to go talk to somebody who can deal with you, and it's not me. It just isn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
To me, it sounds like that Marine needed a daddy dom. That's what he was looking for.
yeah, that's what it was. He was looking for a daddy dom.
He was looking for a daddy dom, and that's where we're gonna go with
And
it.
Yarby was like, I'm not the one. Sorry.
I'm not the one.
It's
not-
I
Have you
don't
seen
have-
my petite figure? Like I am not.
This ain't it, Chief.
Hey
All
Harley,
right.
you okay back there? Harley.
Harley heard the word daddy dom
There
and
we
just lost it in the corner.
All right. So, okay, I'm done vamping. We have a new bot that I was testing out that's not working completely, but it kind of does. All right.
Yes,
So-
doggo.
All right. We ready to start this shindig?
Yeah.
I am.
We are.
Here we go.
No sound.
Yeah, no sound right now, Sin.
Oh,
There
there
it
There
is.
we go.
Oh, God.
This is the story of a soldier who operates your nation's Patriot missile defense systems.
He doesn't. It's a contractor.
It begins in California.
You still have to
with a
call in to
little
deal with
girl
that.
Raised by two moms.
What?
Oh wow, it's woke so because they're lesbians. No, they found a way to make it woke but still white.
Fairly typical
Because it
child.
couldn't be a colored couple that could get a adopted
Played
kid.
violin. I also marched for equality. I like to think
Oh,
I've been defending
God.
freedom from an early age.
Oh, did you?
When I was 6 years
you
old-
joined
Pause,
the-
pause. I have big brain thoughts.
Oh, God.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So much
These-
to unpack.
Philosopher.
Okay.
There's a
Go.
lot. There's a lot here.
Okay, she just
ahead.
said that she's always been fighting for freedom, right? So she goes into service to defend a country in which people still have to march for their freedoms? How does that make sense? If we were in a free country, we wouldn't have to have people marching for their freedoms. It would be an assumption that we're all living under. So this concept of her always being a fighter for freedom, like that makes no sense whatsoever.
Not to mention the fact that not a goddamn one of us fought for anybody's fucking freedom.
Yeah,
Yeah, what does
yeah.
installing a Patriot missile defense system in fucking Israel do for anybody's freedom?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I put that Patriot missile system there for freedom, and don't you forget it. Like that's
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes no sense.
It's oh man. Yeah, she fights a
Ugh.
very specific kind of freedom. A very
Ugh.
she fights in this she's fighting what she's been fed this whole time, and that's kind of the purpose of the ad. But it really can be poked a hole in very quickly with what War Puppy just said. Like you're
Yeah.
actively
But-
saying you have had to fight for equality, and you have had to like march with her now parents. Shouldn't that indicate that maybe you're not fighting for freedom if you support that paradigm? I don't know. Maybe I'm
It's
crazy.
I know that like they make a good point here in the chat. One of them has to have short hair cut. That's how you know they're lesbian hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I wonder who's the butch in the relationship.
Well, one of them has to be. That's the only dynamic that a
That's-
relationship can
yeah,
be, right? That's the only
exactly.
way it exists. even the military, when they have lesbian couple, they still have to make it like weirdly heteronormative.
Exactly.
My
they basically
small
pulled-
brain can't understand it unless there's some sort of social norms.
Yeah,
Right.
unless they're explicitly coded as the one wearing the pants, can't figure it out, have no way to how to parse this super complex relationship.
Look, this is exactly how you understand it. All you have to do is, and then, and there you go. You completely understand it, Army. There you go. Do you understand that now? There you go.
I appreciate that
I want a
explicit.
switchboard, or what, I want like one of those soundboards now.
The fact that I don't have it is so
I'm gonna
upsetting
start-
right
I'm
now.
gonna start tweeting at Rep. Buy us all soundboards, please.
Oh, that's a good idea. All right, let's
All right, let's
All right.
watch some more. Let's see how the woke person ends up in the military.
Never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet. Eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed
Mm-mm.
I'm feeling what?
Now,
Did we pause it?
yeah, I paused it real quick
Okay.
because I have. It takes me a second to switch over my audio,
Oh,
Yeah.
but I paused it because I wonder how much UC Davis is directly tied to the DoD to be specifically mentioned inside of a military recruitment ad.
That's a good
yeah.
question.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder
Maybe
how-
do some digging. That's not a bad question.
$147,000.
What
That's
a
just a
waste.
random guess.
What a waste of potential. Top of her class, going to college, like marching in protests, and then ends up in what, the army? Doing
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's going. And my
That's what
favorite
it-
thing is, it's like
That's where it's
she
going.
joined a sorority of other strong-minded women. Like, we get it. You're trying to show like, hey, look, we're woke. We're woke now.
Girl power.
Yeah.
Now we have
By,
what to do.
by the
That we have
way,
used in different ways. Sorry, go ahead.
it's okay. I'm assuming that they're saying that they have completely solved the homophobic problems that have been in the military for how many fucking decades. Obviously, those are all fixed
Oh, yeah.
now.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
completely
and-
fixed with just this commercial. We did it.
Yes, exactly.
And
Woo,
clearly,
go us!
her mom, who is having to go through physical therapy, I've missed the part where she lost her ability to walk, but yeah, go support that war machine that makes sure we don't have Medicare for all. That's the way to-
Exactly.
Yeah, right? Like,
A sorority girl
this does...
stereo.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sure.
My fault. Go ahead, make your point.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that we got to figure this out. I know there's a
Spent
way
my
to
life around
do more.
inspiring women. But what
It's called Sin ordered the wrong mic as his upgrade and needs to do a switcherino in the very near future. So we're stuck with it, War Puppy, for the time being, okay?
Like, we need to talk to some commo
Man.
guys, not
Dude,
me, some other
I-
dudes. You know,
I-
like
You know, I wasn't a commo guy. Don't expect wonders from me. I'm in the Marine Corps.
That's fair.
had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures, my own challenge.
Ah.
And after meeting with an army recruiter, I found it.
fucking knew it. No. Let's pause
I'm
it
up.
right
Is she
there.
doing the
pause
superhero
right there.
3-point land
Yes.
right there?
Yeah, 3-point
Yes.
superhero land. Like, yeah, I made it. And not
I've
only
seen
that,
Scarlett
Slow head
Johansson
look
do that so many times.
Thank you.
Not only
Thank
that-
you.
not only that, but here's another thing too. Is like they're basically doing the old saying of like, see the world, they say. Join the army, they said. You know, like that.
They are equating the military machine that is boot camp and the army or military in general, which gets how what's the percentage of our population that has served or is veterans or currently enlisted? I think it's like 500,000 or
about-
something like that, right? Or is that the
I
Marine
want to say
Corps?
it's like I want to say it's like 2%, 3%, somewhere around there.
Okay.
It's
So-
very
Maybe
small.
that's
So let's go with 2% of the population of, was it like 350 million? I don't know what that number is, but it's a couple 100,000, right?
I think Jules has the answer.
I don't. I was actually
Oh.
looking up
Oh,
what
sorry.
Ted Cruz had to say about it because I'm a Texan. Sorry.
No. So you have
We'll
you
get
have
there.
you have a couple 100,000 people pass through Paris Island and the various other boot camps around the country, or officer schools, while one of her sorority sisters is climbing Mount Everest, which I think is a few thousand total people. Like
Yeah.
they're trying. There's a weird false equivalency about what they're doing, and I would say that going on Everest is fucking a bunch harder than going through boot camp. Just based
Oh, yeah,
off.
for sure.
objectively harder and objectively cooler. Just all things considered.
Well, that's the thing is they're doing two things here because they did two things. They not only compared it to Mount Everest, but they also compared it to like, oh, but it's gonna be cool and awesome like going to Paris in Europe, you know. But it's not. It's something that like always gets underneath my nerves, like because like you know you get civilians that'll ask you like, oh, you went overseas? How was that? And it's like, dude, did you just ask it like I was on vacation or something? Like that was something I just fucking had to do. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. It's like right there. That also shows it to where they're like, oh yeah, look, that's where they get that mentality of like, oh yeah, it is like they're on vacation because it's like going to Paris because they just did this and that ad.
Her
And
other
there's a very
sort.
specific reason why they do that too. Oh, sorry.
No.
There's a specific reason why they're doing that. It's because they're able to equate this like personal struggle, so you don't have to think, or they don't have to mention the geopolitical problems that are intrinsically built into this system. They don't talk about that because that doesn't get anybody in here. They're talking about like you can be proud of yourself. This is a personal achievement. Individuals like
Yeah.
it's a cop out.
While completely shedding any form of individuality that you have, learning to put your head down,
Right.
follow orders. Like that makes no sense at all.
Yes.
The other sorority sister that went to Paris, I think they said she was studying abroad in Paris. That implies that her other sorority
Italy.
sister has Italy. Excuse me. Thank you. So Italy is continuing their higher education, assuming they're pursuing a post-bachelor degree, like a master's degree, a doctorate in something, and getting international experience doing it. Like, and then there's an equivalence to staying at home and going through boot camp to that. Like, one is empirically more beneficial to society. Hands down. Like, just off face value, continuing higher education so that you can, like, further specialize your knowledge, move past the Dunning-Kruger effect so that you can actually perform at a pinnacle in whatever field that you want to be in, because it's your passion and whatnot. The other is I climbed a wall and landed in a Marvel 3-point superhero stance and looked badass, and I get all the privilege in the world from it. The American society puts this on a pedestal next to somebody that's getting their doctorate or master's and is achieving higher personal heights. That's my equivalent. That's what I picked up on and caused me to pause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and someone in the chat brought up a good point about climbing Mount Everest. I've watched a couple of documentaries about that. It really is like getting the Sherpas to kind of do most of it for you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little bit imperialistic on its own, to the point where Nepal is instituting a like more strict permit system because it's starting to affect the landscape and erosion and things like that. So yeah, that's also a really good point. It might not be the best call to do. Maybe pick a different one, a different mountain that's really high. I don't know.
Strength, and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way.
Wait. I thought your mom already shattered those stereotypes.
Lord.
Why are you having to shatter them now?
What calls you? Okay,
And also, but
What rank
if
is
you
she?
didn't hear it, she's a corporal. She's a corporal in the army.
So
so
she didn't
goes to
graduate.
college. Well, no, she might have. I was
Well, when you tell
I
me
was
you get a
enlisted,
scenario that's
and
not
I
all
had a roommate who was a barred lawyer in the state of California. sometimes OCS just doesn't have room, so they push the enlisted side regardless of your background.
Right. And by the way, it's talking about a calling, which is very like coded religious language, by the way. Like
Yes.
God is calling you to do this.
It's your destiny.
Exactly.
God, country, core, or something. I don't know.
I wanted to come back to this the officer thing versus enlisted, how she's a corporal and enlisted. I served with a couple Marines in my unit that were college educated, had wanted to go in as officers originally, and then decided not to against it because of the stigma around officers, and they wanted to understand like it was a more beneficial like there was an outlook that being enlisted would lift, like eventually they want to go Mustang.
Would gain
And
you
for those
more
that
respect if you.
exactly.
Yeah, if you're enlisted
was
first and then
actually
went
why
officer,
Yeah,
Oh.
that was actually why I was originally in ROTC for the Army, like way back when. And that's actually why I stopped it, because I saw the ones who were commissioning and I was like, I wouldn't respect this as a leader. Like, I would definitely not want to be leading people like this. So I quit and dropped out of the college. And then I stupidly enlisted.
I think
Because-
I think that like that thinking that loops people from reducing themselves from being qualified as an officer into enlisted is a whole byproduct of like class structure. Because if you come from working class, get yourself educated, and then go, oh, I want to be amongst the working people in the enlisted ranks and forego the privilege that I have of attaining a college education and allowing myself to actually change things as a leader in this position. But I'm going to work at this lower end, and you self-inhibit yourself from actually affecting the change that you know that you could or that is available. It's something that just popped into my head about that. It was a weird thought.
Do entire streams on the class divide between enlisted and officers. You just dredge that trench
yeah,
for days.
Yeah.
I'll go on that panel. I won't even have to play a game. I'll just talk about it. Especially
exactly.
being like, it's so much worse in the Navy on ship. The
Oh, yeah.
lower enlisted do the officers' laundry, like personal
Are you
laundry.
kidding
I was
me?
astonished. I lost my mind like learning this on ship. I was like, excuse, they do what? Like I would be like, I would mutiny, like, or jump off the ship. Like there's no way I'm fucking doing that. I am not a not even a secretary, like a personal assistant to a celebrity. Absolutely not. Like I lost it. Oh, sorry, this one off the rail.
Sorry,
No,
as
you're
far
still on
as-
rails.
As far as this ad goes, I did want to say Senator Ted Cruz accused the Army of projecting an image of pansies by featuring a female soldier raised by two women. He prefers a much more macho Russian ad
I got
featuring
this.
buff
I got
soldiers doing push-ups because
Him?
apparently he wants a daddy dom too.
Yeah.
I got this.
Ted Cruz is saying that?
Yeah, Ted.
Cruz
Ted
is
Cruz.
purporting
I got
to
that.
be macho. All right,
I
let
got
Yarby
this.
take it.
I
Let
got
Yarby
this.
take it.
I gotta get it. So one man decided that this ad was too, not manly enough for him. He decided he can't have a female lead raised by two women. And that man was Ted Cruz.
Need a soundboard.
He's such a fucking tool. I hate him
Dude.
so much.
His beard is horrible. Like, I voted against him just off of principle of like, he's not really a Texan. Like, I feel like we've taken his Texan card away. Like,
Isn't
as
he a
Texan-
Canadian? He's Canadian.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
well,
is
here's the thing
Canadian.
is, so he's first off, all right, look, Ted Cruz, he had Trump talk smack about his wife, and he did nothing. He took it and then endorsed him. Then after that, not only that, let's see, when we had like the great winter freeze earlier this year in Texas where we lost power and stuff, he went to Cancun, and then he left his dog at home, which that's very un-Texan. Like, you
That's
bring that
fucked
dog
up.
with you. Yeah. And not only that, it was a
Oh my god.
goddamn poodle as well. Like, at least get yourself a Texan dog, like a blue heeler or something, like.
He's fuck?
Jesus.
Oh my god.
It's just like one mistake after the next. Ted Cruz, give me your Texan card and get out of here. Like,
For
Fuck
being
outta
just such a soft body coward, like he wants his military to be fucking protecting it. He wants all the daddy doms in the military so he can like put on his silk slippers every night and
Which,
go to bed.
Exactly.
by the
My-
way, he did not serve. I'm gonna point that part out.
My favorite
He's
part.
saying, like, this makes us look like pansies, man. He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
My favorite part is that he literally lifted and then shared, liked, and like was comparing our this military ad, to Russian propaganda, which was released as response, like as a dick on table move, like size comparison to this ad. Like
Christ.
literally, Ted Cruz fell and did exactly what Russian military propaganda wanted our people to think about, not even our
Yeah.
elected leaders. Like that's exactly what happened.
100%.
Ted Cruz was like, that dick is bigger. I want that dick.
Dick.
I want that.
So
Do we-
random
I want a
tangential.
dick that fights a grizzly bear. Like,
Sorry, go ahead, War Puppy.
I was gonna say completely tangential, but shout out to Russian propaganda in the 60s when they used to just beat the shit out of the US for how poorly we treated African Americans, which was an actual like distinctive decision point for Lyndon Johnson whenever he was considering the Civil Rights Act.
Wow.
So just want to say Russian propaganda every once in a while hits the nail on the head. They would literally publish articles being like, capitalism? Look at how they treat their minorities.
I gotta address chat real quick. Haas, yes, absolutely. Ted Cruz does need a daddy dom for Cancun trips. Smedley, Plantifa. Do you remember when the Sergeant Major of Marine Corps called out the Navy's BS? I assume that's in regards to the class divide.
Potentially. I am not sure I remember this particular sad match. Can you be more specific?
Be more
And
specific,
also, we're
Smedley.
gonna do
Smedley says yes.
do Coast Guard next.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Alendi, you gotta be patient. I know you have little sibling syndrome and you want some attention. We're coming around. Don't worry, we coming around.
I promise. I just wanted to cover this first. I just want to go over the one everybody is talking about first.
Before we get to Coast Guard, so I'm gonna push us along and pivot into our the next video that you had planned for us, playing Tifa. And as I do this,
Oh, okay.
So this is, we're actually touching on it. So it's a double pivot because Ted Cruz and the right all had this kind of reaction to that ad apparently. And so I'm looking down the list of suggested watches that you guys can't see because it's cut off. But the second one is our next video that we're going to watch. Fourth one, woke U.S. Army goes full cringe SJW. Marine reacts.
Oh no.
And then
Oh, God,
then
no.
the next one, Marine reacts to viral Army recruitment video. And it's, I will say it is a Marine of color is on the picture. It is his, what appears to be, and I can guarantee it is, because it's that same deer caught in headlight look of the boot camp dress blue picture. You know, the hostage picture that you take like at your 9-week mark. Yeah, it's
Yes,
that. It's that superimposed over the ad that we just watched. And so
Okay.
I kind of want to watch these, but we're going to go into the one that you had ready. And
No, you know what? It's Fox News and it's silly. We should skip that so we can get to the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
okay.
We'll save that one for the end if we have time. We'll go to that one
Yeah.
because we took all those talking points. We got to give some love to the other branch that we always forget about.
Coast Guard, I just want to be the first to recognize via this ad that is 30 seconds long, the thankless job that you do, that this ad is titled, and to make us know that you have a thankless job. We really appreciate it.
Was this effective?
Is this
There are many thankless jobs out there. This isn't one of them.
Oh, it's not. It's not.
It's
a
not.
It's not a thing.
I forget they're a branch all the time. Like I'm pretty think
I would
it's still a
argue-
thing.
I would say that.
But yeah, they're.
I would say that ad was actually kind of badass and showed what we need a Coast Guard for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like Coast Guard is one of the only branches that actually gets. I mean, I'm not saying we've never done anything humanitarian ever in the other branches, but they're one of the branches who gets to actually be good guys sometimes. You know, like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
I would say that's fair. I would say that's fair. They always get made fun of, but like this ad, at least that particular ad, showed like a kind of use for them. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you might actually do a thing. I mean, most of your time is going to be spent sitting around and doing nothing, but you might
Yeah, I mean,
potentially do
yeah.
a thing.
We had a recruiter come to like my military school before I was in the army and whatnot, and there were a couple people like, yeah, I want to join the Coast Guard. That's how I'm gonna do it. And they came in pretty much for like, we don't want any of y'all because y'all are getting GEDs. And after that, everyone was making fun of these guys that wanted to join the Coast Guard. And one of them was just asked like, where's the best fishing spots? And the dude was like, oh, I know where they're all at. And then so we looked at the guys that wanted to go to the Coast Guard. We're like, yeah, we got you good because you're not going to join. And we were right about the fishing spots. You know?
So Alendi in chat said they were incredibly effective at the time. Alendi, I know that I think you shared that video with the Discord community. Do you remember when that commercial came out? Was that like late 90s, early 2000s? Like, was that pre ramp up like post 9/11? And then Cloud at Mine brings up a good point. Coast Guard is also cops.
Yes.
They sniffing those drug dogs. Like that's what they do.
Really?
Yeah, they control the ports, and things like that. So
They're like
they're pretty much
water
cops.
border patrol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they do good things, like they'll help a vessel that is in trouble, but also, I mean, cops sometimes do nice things too.
Yeah.
I've had a cop help direct me when there was like a traffic problem. He like directed me around. Like he was nice to me, but like I'm also a white girl that was driving around suburbia in a beat up car. Like he had no reason to not be.
Yeah.
Alendi says, yeah, Alendi says that video is post 9/11, mid 2000s, and then Cloud of Mine comes back with Coast Guard shooters of drug boats, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we saw drugs, so we sank it.
And so we're going to continue on the Coast Guard train and get into all the shitty stuff they do. I think we can see a distinct pivot in their advertisements. And so here's the next
First off,
video.
No water.
Yeah. No water first off.
I wasn't born to push papers. I was born to push myself. To go where I'm needed. To keep this country safe.
Why are you running in those?
I was born with the backbone and brain power to take on any mission. This is my office.
Who just
I
wears a
was
sports
born
bra to work?
ready.
GoCoastGuard.com.
Like, if you worked in an office, you're not, like, there's no way you're just wearing a sports bra for fun. That is not comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna run like that without it? No way. I'm
I
calling
gotta
bullshit.
say I disagree. I love a good sports bra, but that's beside the point.
Does anyone remember the mid 2000s pop punk aesthetic where just about every single music video that came out for a while was some dude typing in a cubicle somewhere and then he like flips his desk and the pop punk band starts playing in the background and everything? This is like the lamest possible version of that.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. That's actually kind of where my mind went when I saw this. I was like, yeah, this is very, like, bad
No.
pop punk. Like,
Well,
No,
we
yeah,
should,
but
Pop is work.
this is what that commercial's saying. That it's like, are you having problems? Run away from them and come join the Coast Guard.
Also, by the way, every single branch of the military also has paper pushers. And depending on when you
Yes.
join and what job field you go into, you might be pushing that paper.
you're pushing
Yeah,
paper pretty
but
much no
they
matter
don't want
what.
you to know that. Yeah, regardless of what your MOS is, there's some point where you are just behind a desk and doing what people say. That's just a
Exactly.
reality.
Look,
of
I'm not
joining
signing
the bureaucracy
any
or military.
hand receipt for these radios, okay? Like,
Yeah, if the least paper pushing MOS you can get in the army is like the infantry, and you're still filling out like forms for your Humvee, you're still filling out hand receipts, you're still filling out requests for leave, you're still going to the S1 just about
oh,
every day to try to
did I
figure
put
out
a
why
radio
pay
in
is
your
fucked up.
Humvee? You better sign for that. Like, I don't want it on my books.
You're signing for ammo, you're signing whenever you shoot at the range, you're signing for the risk assessment for the rucks that you're doing, you're signing everything. There's not a single element of the military that isn't just filled to the brim with paper.
Yeah.
Even for small things, like I remember having to submit my PT plan, like to
Mhm.
write it out or type it out and print it or email it, like, hey, this is what we're doing on Monday, this is what we're doing on Wednesday, this is the plan for Thursday and Friday. Like, we have it, like, even when it's just for something like working out, we have to write that on paper and communicate that so that you don't do the same exact thing tomorrow for the whole platoon. Like, it's just
Does
no matter
anyone
what
remember PCS moves where they tell you to
Oh,
have
Christ.
20 pages of your order, 20 copies of your orders? And those orders could be anywhere between like 5 to 10 pages. And they'd be like, yeah, just 20 copies because you have to hand a different copy
So
of the
here's
paper
my
to everyone.
binder
Freaking
of
everywhere.
orders.
exactly. Oh my god.
Like,
Yeah,
there's not
no,
a single
it's
system
such a
that
lie.
exists. You can just
And
press a
on
button.
it, can we get like at least like a 1% raise in disability for just like paper cuts alone? Just like
Just give me like an extra $2 a month. Come on. Like,
that's all I'm
my
asking.
skin-
Like,
Special monthly compensation admin fee, right? Special monthly compensation A. It's a secret squirrel thing. You have to go like you need a veteran service officer to
You have to
help
be
you out with that.
buddy
and-
buddy with the S1 clerks, otherwise
Mm-hmm.
you're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
Never.
You know, your corpsmen have to sign off. There has to be 3 witnesses that it was actually like an SRB folder that elicited the cut. Like, it's hard. I dealt with it. So
Here's
But-
a little like backroom knowledge, I guess. Every single one of those forms that you fill out almost immediately gets shredded because the form only exists to tell someone to push a button in a system.
Yep.
That's all it is.
It's a waste of paper.
As
Not only
someone
that,
who's
but-
been in that position, usually I would just have someone
You-
just come up to me and be like, "Okay, I'll press the button. Please don't." say
And
this." Like, I don't want
if
this
if
shit.
it's something that needs to be like kept on record and stuff, it's already on like line. It's online.
Or I
like-
just lose it immediately because I can't be fucked to keep 8 years of fucking records for all the thousands of people that come through my entire unit.
There's-
Fuck no.
there is a reason that still to this day in 2021, like young boots fresh out of boot camp, like if they have a good NCO in front of them, that NCO takes them aside and be like, "Where's your medical record? We're going to go photocopy this." Every single time you get a page, you photocopy it because guess what? As soon as you give that to admin, it's going to get lost.
They're gonna lose it.
And like, I got out in 2010. The internet was a thing. Online databases with like scanning and shit was a thing. But the Marine Corps doesn't give a fuck. Like, you can't get
Army's in the
paperwork.
same boat.
It's like the infrastructure is a waste in and of itself. It is just
I'm pretty
waste
sure
for the
it's
sake
a
of waste.
vast conspiracy to prop up big paper as they just need us to drive from the DoD side of the house.
All
Yeah,
I know
they're in
is
cahoots with
I
Dunder
scanned my
Mifflin.
own paperwork because I had a scanner. That's the end of that, you know.
Mhm.
Put it on my .mil whatever stuff and was like, there we go. It's there.
This is Raytheon
Just
make paper.
Raytheon make paper.
Tactical paper. Watermarked with
Okay,
Raytheon
but that actually
colors.
is a thing.
Not surprised, Wes. You
I
have to be able to write
requested
in the
my
rain or something.
my medical paperwork from the VA, And they didn't even send me like a packet or anything. They actually just sent me a CD.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same. I just have
Yeah,
to see.
and
I don't,
my
I'm not sure I
computer,
know where.
and my computer couldn't read the CD, so I don't know what to do.
They changed, and that's all they do is send out
Yeah.
CDs now if you request your records like that.
Yeah, they started doing that a couple of years
Uh,
ago. but
and-
I had to convert mine.
You have to get you go to a Kinko's. There's these things called Kinko's that still read CDs, and they'll print stuff for you because nobody has printers anymore and nobody has CD-ROM drives. But yet our government is just now in 2021 getting around to understanding the concepts of CDs and burnable drives. Love it.
Yeah.
Like, all I'm saying is, I'm gonna be sending them a demo CD, and it's gonna be just straight fire. Like, that's what I'm doing to the VA. Like,
So I'm gonna let you guys into a little fact. There's this public knowledge, but if there are certain time periods that if you request your records from like your service records from the DoD or your medical records from the VA, you'll get a response talking about a fire that occurred in like the 90s or like you. There's whole swaths of generations of veterans that don't have records. So when they go to get their benefits and they walk into a veteran service officer like the DAV or VFW or Legion, and they get a professional to start assisting, and they're like, I don't have records for this stuff. Like, I know it's in my medical record, but the proof is gone. It's and then you submit the formal request and they go through the entire process, and 6 months later, because that's how fucking long it takes, they get a response that's like, oh, your shit was lost in a fire. No other details. You can't find shit about the fire. like it's, yeah. And this is a huge thing. So you deal with widows of veterans that they're trying to get burial benefits and shit like that to like get any type of help and assistance with helping like veterans that have died from due to Agent Orange exposure and shit like that. But because you can't find the records. So this is it's just another way that like there's a major class divide with
All
shit,
of my
or just all the stuff.
weapons are in the gun safe, so I can't express my anger by cocking a pistol, but I do have this that you can just press and you can barely hear and see. Show that I'm angry about this and want to burn things because of it.
Like, there was actually a guy that I knew who was Louisiana National Guard and transferred over to the Texas National Guard, but when he transferred from Louisiana to Texas, it was right after Katrina. So all of his paperwork and everything was lost in the hurricane. So he was able to transfer over, but then they were like, we don't have your medical paperwork. We don't have any of this and that. Like, I remember it was this guy I met at a bar, and he was just like, yeah, it was horrible. I couldn't believe it. Like, he was like, what do you mean? Like, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's a hurricane. So, like, like the hurricane of the century, you know? So.
Sin, can I send you one YouTube video? It's another one of the Army, the calling YouTube videos. There's like a 30-second clip in here that I think will take us 15 minutes to tear apart.
Okay.
Go to 55 seconds on the time.
All right. Before we do that, do we want to finish our Coast Guard? We got
Yes.
we got 2 more videos for Coast Guard, and we'll come back to the Army.
That if we do this
one
5-second clip,
Yeah,
we're taking this all the way out.
Okay, then we'll hit this Coast Guard video and then do that. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Cloud of Mind, I have firsthand seen that happen as a VSO in a previous life. I've firsthand seen veterans like with dog tags and pictures of them in uniform and everything, and the VA turn around and tell them that they're not veterans because those records don't exist, or they don't have a copy of their DD-214. And what's even sadder is seeing that these people are massively entitled to benefits. Like, on face, they walk into the office and they are crippled directly from a gunshot wound sustained or something like that, and they're in abject poverty, complete abject poverty, and they can't get benefits that would help them, literally help save their and their family lives. and they can't get that assistance from the government that they served, quote unquote, or were economically drafted into. So that economic draft promise isn't always fucking fulfilled. And so, like, just as another thing that people that are getting recruited right now need to be aware is, like, all the shit that you think you get on the backside for going into the military, all the stuff that makes it even something that you're thinking about is not actually guaranteed.
Nope. You gotta fight for it a lot of times.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like Call of Duty, VA warfare. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Cloud Mine brings up a great point. We have Veterans for Peace has a deported veterans advocacy program. Guys that have deployments from Vietnam to OIF, OEF, and hold rank, like, get deported after their service. Families get deported, all that shit.
It's wild.
All right.
Oh, and yes, whatever videos we don't get to is still saved. Like, we can get to them next time if we don't. And if there are videos you want us to cover, put it in our Discord.
Yep. Alendi and Cloud Mine, if you guys want to come on, guys, gals, non-binary pals want to come on next military ad slam, you're in the community, more than welcome to.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start this one off.
All right.
Aw, what a baby face.
I am a Coast Guardsman. I am a Coast Guardsman.
I serve the people of the United States.
Angel's talking shit in the chat, saying this guy's got mashed potato mouth.
Dude, I thought it was War Puppy too. I really did.
It's gonna be Alex Jones when he gets older.
Guns.
I love you.
Kill people.
Oh God, what are you
but
doing to
also
her?
save people.
For them, I am super proud.
I live the Coast Guard core values.
I am proud to be a Coast Guardsman.
We are.
We are.
We are.
Look, we do cool stuff by hanging off of planes and stuff.
Yeah, that wouldn't have got me, not gonna lie.
Yeah, same.
I was
I don't
very
think that would've
bored by
got
that one.
That was
Like,
very low.
on-
And maybe that's why the Coast Guard doesn't get as much
Not enough gun
attention.
scenes. Not enough gun scenes.
Low energy, they weren't shooting or blowing shit up. Wouldn't have got me.
They don't
It
they
didn't
don't
have,
harp
like-
on the, like, killing poor brown people in the ads. They don't
They didn't
focus
have
on that
like
part of it enough.
the quick cuts and stuff of just like, here's a boat, here's a gun, here's a boat. Like that's what they should have done. You know, like
Yeah, here's a really dirty guy. Here's another boat.
yeah.
There was not enough 3-point landings. I just lost interest immediately.
Mm. Not enough zip lines.
Yeah, I really
Sin's
wanted
playing
more
some
of
video
that
game.
repelling. Yeah.
He's bored already. Doesn't care. Gonna go play Dungeons and
Oh,
Towers.
I'm sorry.
Dragons
Was that ad done? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you gotta do
Busy.
an ad like that.
TikTok got me, man. I mean,
Yeah, let me
what
finish
can I
my
say?
Hearthstone match real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
needed more explosions, preferably in U.S. property. Yeah, I mean, if only, if
Mhm.
only, if only.
If only.
I know, Haas.
Well, we have. Go ahead.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm confused by Haas's last statement. The FPS stream isn't on yet. It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry.
Oh,
Your
it's
short
because you
attention
have
spans.
The game up, like the game, the ad for the game. That's why.
Oh, did I?
There it is.
All right. Ready? All right, War Puppy, you got your special request here. Coast
Yeah,
Guard.
just take it to 55 seconds, and then we're probably going to play it for like 45 seconds, and there'll be enough for us to talk about for the rest of the stream.
Sounds
right
good.
All right. So let me switch over this video audio, and we will get going.
soon as I turned 17, I asked for my dad's blessing to enlist. But having served in the Army during the Vietnam era, responding to civil unrest, he said no. He had his reasons. So, I turned
Pause.
to singing.
What?
Yeah, okay.
That's it. That's all you need to see. Did you
Okay.
see
That's all you need to see.
what there was thousands of layers of just complex bullshit going on right there.
Yeah, that they're
Yeah.
turning into a weirdly binary cartoon, like,
I've-
and just ignoring his very real concerns about his daughter. Like,
Yeah.
I want to replay it one more time for the audience.
yes, please.
More importantly for me, but I want to replay it one more time.
Yeah, it was civil unrest. That's it. That's what-
Just civil unrest.
So as soon as I turned 17, I asked for my dad's blessing to enlist. But having served in the Army during the Vietnam era, responding to civil unrest, he said no. He had his reasons.
So,
I turned to
long
patrons.
story short, if I'm reading this correctly, her dad got drafted involuntarily to go serve in a country that we had no business being in and probably witnessed some awful, horrific war crimes that went on during that time. And he's all thinking this whenever his daughter comes to ask him to enlist, and he says no. And then she doesn't care what he says. She doesn't care about probably the suffering that him and his friends have gone through as a result of our fuckery in Vietnam. She just goes ahead and does it anyways. And then the sadistic part of this is the fact that the DoD tried to spin this by saying civil unrest in Vietnam and is now using this as part of their ad campaign. It's sick.
I want
Civil
to-
unrest.
so many layers of wrong.
I'm not an expert in video. Like, I had dreams of doing video work, and I get to do it now, right? Putting on this kind of things. But when I look at like my desire to be a director before, I start looking at imagery, and I'm not really great. But when I kept having to replay this over and over again, because his look, what happens here and what they're showing is a discussion actually occurs. Like,
Yeah.
he actually, without any things, he hears her response and
Then
gives a reply.
tells her-
This
this is his
here's the fucked up shit that I did and witnessed. It's not like, oh no. This is a visual representation of, this is my story in Vietnam and my memory of like being here, witnessing people die, like the combat. It's summed up in a 3-second part of this clip that we've watched.
With
And
shadows, basically.
with shadows, right? So it's done artistically well, right? It's very sanitized, but artistically they express that a conversation occurs, and then they absolutely, and you can see the heartbreak in his as he's retelling that. It is.
And he's like, that's why I'm
can't.
saying no.
That's
why I'm saying no.
I can't.
Like, here's the thing is, I as someone who's joined at 17, like I got the A-OK from my dad, mainly because he wasn't from Vietnam era. He was like, oh, I'm from, was it Desert Storm? And then I went and cleaned up his war, which then it still needed more cleaning up after I was gone. But still, that's beside the point. Like, that's the whole thing is like, they bypass that whole conversation. Like, if my dad had a conversation with me like that, I'd be like, you know what? Let me rethink about this. Let me spend a little bit more time on it. Like, they bypass the whole conversation just to make it artsy, like little thing of just like, yeah. It's like, why don't you really say exactly what he's talking about? Like, how about that? Like,
Yeah. And that's what makes this so manipulative, because I kind of hate that they do this, because I really relate to this conversation, and I'm definitely not the only one who would relate to this sort of thing. My grandfather actually kind of did this when I had mentioned my desire to do this. He was like, he didn't do it in the most healthy way, unfortunately, and it wasn't a way that I was going to listen to him, because he just said, you're going to ruin your life, and that was the end of the conversation. If it kind of went like this, it might have ended differently. But I relate to the getting that dissent, and then that dissent being the like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway
I'm
because
gonna
you can't tell
do
me
what
anything.
I want
The-
to do,
So
Dad.
exactly. So they're using that very real like rebellious spirit, the very real like do what you want no matter what sort of like thing that gets inside you when you get this idea to do something like this, and using that to completely gloss over the very real concerns that someone from the Vietnam era would have because they're just better at hiding it now. It's not like it's different. The military just hides it a little by doing this.
I'm a legacy Marine myself. Both my parents served in the Corps, and then my dad on my dad's side, a couple generations of military members. Right, some of them went to Vietnam. My dad was never deployed, right, but he was between Vietnam and Desert Shield at some point in time, right, over his career. And he actually was like, you shouldn't go in. But everything from my childhood up until I was 17, because like Yarby, I went in at 17, everything in my household, my parents' proudest moments they talked about, everything around my culture that was around me, all reinforced at the Marine Corps were uniforms were the sexiest. They were the best branch to be in because they were the most hardcore, right? The esprit de corps, all of that bullshit, right? Still, while my dad actually was like, no, the one thing he said was like, no, you shouldn't go in, and he was a cop, right? So all of the lifestyle led to me personally going in and rejecting like the one sound advice regarding the military that I had from the single source. That was the only conversation I'd ever had that said the military is a bad thing. And we just witnessed this commercial retell that story of the one influence in her life that has direct experience in the military gets and provides that voice, that anti-military voice, is cast aside because of your own economic draft and the culture around you, that the overwhelming culture around you that lifts up the military and says it's such a good thing. Because without the five of us sitting here and tearing this apart, everybody else watching this is swept up into that recruitment. Like, whether we think these recruitment videos are effective or not, people are still fucking enlisting. Their messaging is still getting out. There's still 2 to 3% of our population in this country that is going into the military, has served or is serving. So like, this shit's effective because it's the overwhelming consensus. The overwhelming consensus is passively pushing and lifting up the military. And it's going to continue. The more people that 2 to 3% that continues to go in, the more economic drafts is pulling people in harder and harder. That means that 2 to 3% starts becoming 4 to 5% because it's the only way that it becomes even more of the only way that kids get out of economic or abusive situations in household. And guess what? Abusive situations are linked to social and material unrest or unfortunate conditions, right? The worse economically a household is doing, the higher the stress level. The higher the stress level, the more chances for abuse of various means, whether emotional, physical, sexual. Like, the harder a home life is for a child because of the economic things, the more they're likely to go into that economic draft, which means that economic draft is only going to be ramping up over time, especially with the bleed through of brovet culture and Punisher culture, and the more our nation divides to the extremes of the Overton window that media talks about.
Not only that, but if you look at this commercial and the other Army commercial, they take like a person and then make them into a cartoon, which then it's also like, that here in America, we don't tie cartoons to like adult things. We tie them to like kid things and teenage things. Yep. So this is aiming for a younger audience.
Yeah, the United
actually
States
never even thought
Army.
of
Someone
that.
in chat
Excellent point.
said, yeah, someone in chat just brought up how they're still grooming 13-year-olds on Twitch, which is why we started doing what we're currently doing.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what I did
when
I saw that. I kind of like looked over and I was like, oh, you know what? This is a cartoon. You know, like, I'm an adult that watches anime. I'm not gonna lie, you know. But in Japan, they have like anime that's like very in depth on story and shit. Like, where it's like that's their Game of Thrones over there. Well, you know, here in America, we don't have that. It's like, oh no, cartoons are for kids.
Yeah, the
You know
U.S.
what I mean?
Army sells toys for children as young as 6 years old. Just saying.
And I think that's the best fucked up point to
Yeah.
to conclude this on, because we got to get to FPS Friday relatively soon. Thank you so much for your your guys' input, and I agree. I think the cartooning is definitely specifically to target younger and younger.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Whoever said you're going to tag me, please do so.
this was, man, this got me a little fired up. I wasn't expecting Ad Slam to get me fired up today. Because
That
I was
adrenaline pumping for FPS Friday.
Oh, dude, my adrenaline. I was doing some more research earlier, and I almost put my fist through the screen, like prepping for FPS Friday, because like journalism under assault, right, and war crimes and shit, all that stuff got me going, and now I'm ready for FPS Friday. So we see what happens.
To lighten it up, I'm gonna tell my dogs that it's about time that they do something they really, really want to do. You want to see something cute?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Harley, Scarlett, what time is it? Is it chow time?
Oh, bye.
Yep. So now I gotta go feed them. Dogs.
And on that, we're going to take us out. We're going to go on a break until 8:30. And we'll be back with FPS Friday. Coach Mash, War Puppy, myself, Krabby, and I'm not sure who our fifth is joining us for tonight, but we'll be playing Valorant while we go over the war on journalism in America and continuing a conversation from our Valheim stream on Monday. There's so many streams. I forgot what show it was. Thanks for joining us, Alendi. Yeah. And so shameless plug real quick. You are watching Gamers for Peace. We are a veteran and ally started community driven initiative of Veterans for Peace, pushing the conversation about truth and recruitment in our digital and gaming and hobby spaces, also talking about the larger anti-war effort and the intersection of veterans and progressive issues that we're all facing, whether it's economic things or policy decisions being made in the nation or around the world. So we're here to have those conversations. Really would like, if you like what we're doing and want to participate more, you can check out our Discord. Links down below. Link coming up in chat also. And we'll get the bot working. I typed the wrong command first time. Second time it worked. Ha ha. So check out our Discord. Get plugged into the conversation. Hang out with a great community, inclusive and equitable community that's here to play games, have fun, and talk about these issues that we face every day. If you really like what you're doing, you can follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can also join Veterans for Peace, become a member if you really like what we're doing. And get involved directly. We're participating in direct actions, and we also are bringing this messaging out. So really like to have you join us. And with that takes my shameless plug and brings it full circle. And with that, let's say our dues. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.